Thank you, sir. I've been introduced. I'm Mohammed Akram, Associate Professor of Sociology, and Sociology of Health is my area of interest. So, of course, I have a basic understanding of Sociology of Health, and I would like to enjoy talking about sanitation. I have a working paper with me. I would like to take liberty of quoting few sentences off and on from my paper also. The title of my paper is Sanitation, Health and Development Deficit in India, a Sociological Perspective. Now when I'm making use of the word development deficit, please notice it that this term is being used by me, development deficit. It has not been used by, and basically we cannot explain the situation in India unless we make use of some new terms, some new concepts. And along with development deficit, I have also used policy deficit, implementation deficit, and technology deficit. Of course, these are very specific things that we need to face in Indian context. My paper basically is divided into 4 parts. I've tried to locate sanitation in sociology. That's the first thing. Then, a theoretical perspective, because if we talk about sociology of sanitation, we need to identify the theoretical perspective. We need to explain the why. We have been talking about that these things are existing, but why these things are existing, sociology is about that. And then, friends, well, I would like to explain my disagreement with the motivation theory, that we need to motivate people for making use of toilet, or we need to generate awareness for making people using the toilet. Why? I will explain in my paper. And I've tried to explain the things by making use of the terms like habitus, social world, of course the public space, and the development deficit, etc. But I'm beginning my paper by defining sanitation. Sanitation, I mean the principles, practices, provisions, or services related to cleanliness and hygiene in personal and public life for the protection and promotion of human health and well-being, and breaking the cycle of disease or illness. It is also related to the principles and practices relating to the collection, treatment, removal, or disposal of human exchequer, household waste, and other pollutants. Of course, I include the other pollutants here. World Health Organization states that sanitation generally refers to the provision of facilities and services for the safe disposal of human urine and feces. Sanitation and development. There can be several answers to the question why sanitation is very important. We have been talking about why sanitation is very important. World Bank has also tried to look at the thing why sanitation is important for India. A study conducted by World Bank's South Asian Water and Sanitation Unit estimated that India is witnessing a loss of rupees 240 billion annually due to lack of proper sanitation facilities. The premature death, treatment for the sick, and loss of productivity and revenue from various other miscellaneous related items is how this huge loss is coming. Of course, there are so many communicable diseases. India is yet to witness the epidemiological transition. In India, most of the people are dying because of the communicable disease, and the rest of the world, basically the developed part of the world, has already controlled communicable disease through the public health movement almost 150 years back. Sanitation infrastructure. India has a population of almost 1.2 billion people, and 55% of this population, that is around 600 million, has no access to toilet, something that we have been talking about. Most of these numbers are made up by people who live in urban slums and rural areas. India is still lagging behind many other countries, even the developing countries, in terms of availability of toilets. Who is responsible? Of course, there are three agencies: individuals, community, and the state, and all the three are equal stakeholders. So we'll try to fix the responsibility, or we'll try to identify the happening of insanitation by making use of all the three agencies. Sanitation and public health. Sanitation is the first step towards achieving the goal of public health. England and most of the European countries had the sanitation stage almost 150 years back, and that was the first stage of public health. And this is how they have controlled most of the communicable diseases almost 100 years back. We can never forget that, and we can try to identify where is that public health movement in India, because sanitation is part of public health. In India, things are quite different. Public health system is very weak, and sanitation could hardly attract the attention of government policymakers till the last decade of the last century. Initiatives taken by agencies like Sulabh International brought huge impact, but such initiatives could hardly get translated into government mission. We know that government is having rural development mission or health mission, but sanitation could never become a mission in India. The total sanitation campaign was started in 1999, and it has completed almost 10 years. Of course, the Nirmal Gram Puruskar Award is also there for promoting sanitation. However, India's late entry into ensuring total sanitation and a limited sectoral approach. Of course, India's approach towards sanitation or health is a sectoral or segmented approach, and that has not yielded desired results. The disparity among states in outcome is a cause of great concern. To improve sanitation in a lasting way, the issue related to defecation, waste disposal, water, environment, and health must be seen from a comprehensive and sustainable solution perspective. Sanitation needs to be seen as an integral component of the health structure and development agenda. Health contributes to a person's basic capability to function. Denial of health is not only denial of good life chance, but also denial of fairness and justice, stated by Amartya Sen. Even Universal Declaration of Human Rights says that everyone has a right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family. Sociology also looks at the issue of health and disease from a comprehensive perspective. Of course, we have the functionalist approach, we have the Marxist, we have symbolic interactionists talking about health, and sociologists try to establish two things. First, that disease is not just biologically caused, but it is socially caused. And the second thing is that health is not something, but passengers traveling in all the classes in Indian Rail unite the rural and urban India by expelling and spreading the faces in the railway tracks. Indian Railway is perhaps the most important factor for promoting insanitation and for perpetuating insanitation in India. This is a development deficit. This is a technology deficit. The drainage system in most of the urban India is inadequate. A good rain in any city and everything that you put under the carpet is coming out. Sanitation in India never received the attention that it deserves. Just as development cannot be achieved through continuous financial deficit or budgetary deficit, development cannot be achieved through development deficit or even technology deficit. People in rural India have learned to use or make use of the ATM. They have learned to make use of the mobile phones. People in India will learn to make use of the toilets. There is no problem. We don't need a motivation. We need to understand the context of why toilets are not being used in India. The problem Yes, the deficit, the development deficit that is created in India is not because of the rural or illiterate people. The deficit needs to be removed by the elite and the urbanite people who are sitting over here. Please mind. The deficit needs to be overcome by the elite and the urbanites. It's difficult because the elite and the urbanites have learned to manage and passing the buck culture. Often we talk about corporate social responsibility, we talk about government responsibility, but we seldom talk about individual social responsibility. We seldom talk about intellectual social responsibility. Sanitation is a social space. It needs engagement not only between the citizen and the state, it also needs engagement between the individual occupying government or private position and the citizen he or she is. We need to come above the deficit model that we all are habituated in working with. We need to fill up the deficits. This is the last paragraph, please bear with me. The problem of open defecation is not denied here. The health problem created by it is also not denied. But what is denied here is that the problem is related to only rural or urban class. This is denied here. This is disagreed. The problem is equally related to the elite and the governing class. In India, the citizens in general are yet to take up the citizenship role as duty. The citizens are more or less influenced by the habitus and the social world, the terms used by Bourdieu, which are structured by multitude of factors, and the government agencies are the most important among them. The habitus is yet to be adapted, the habitus is yet to adapt the sanitation goals, because the sanitation deficit of the government, elite or urban middle class or agents or agencies. Sanitation needs a conscious decision making. Sanitation needs a conscious decision making. The citizens are yet to become the conscious agents in the field of sanitation and health. The state organs are yet to become the agencies. India needs the active presence of many more conscious agencies like the civil society organizations who can fill up the various deficits. The habitus both produces and is produced by the social world. Sanitation needs to be a part of that social world. Thank you.